Beowulf, a la Shmoop. Gnomes.
Words of wisdom. Deb, long question for you. As if Grendel weren't bad enough, his mother makes her way to town, the night after his death, no less. And as you might imagine, she wants revenge. Revenge, big theme in this era. So luckily, Beowulf comes to the rescue again and tracks her down beneath her lake, ending her life and taking Grendel's head as a trophy. When he returns victorious, Hrothgar has more than just material gifts to give him, although he does have plenty of those as well. So tell us about the wise gifts of Hrothgar, gift giving and revenge and the whole notion of paying for your sins financially seems to be a meaningful theme here. So run us through that whole structure, economy, I guess.
Right, and we'll talk a lot about, in an upcoming lesson about the material gifts, right? So right now we're going to talk about the gifts of wisdom that Hrothgar gives Beowulf. And these have a name to them. We call them gnomes, like little garden
those little
gnomes.
things,
Yeah, but not. And they're basically like little pithy phrases of wisdom. So these are pieces of wisdom that are given from one character to another, but we're also supposed to take them to heart as readers. So it kind of has a double meaning. An example of a gnome from today would be something like, "Don't bite the hand that feeds you." These are just like little things that people say to each other, and it means something when Hrothgar says it to Beowulf, and then it also means something when we as readers look at it. So Hrothgar tells Beowulf not to boastfully give gifts. If you're going to give gifts, it shouldn't be boastful. He tells him not to be arrogant. And he also warns him about the fleetingness of life. He says, "But a little while lasts thy life vigor's fullness, 'twill after hap early that illness or sword edge shall part thee from strength." So it's basically saying like, yeah, you're great and all now, but life's short. When we hear these words of wisdom, again, we can't just take them at face value and move on. We have to think about what they represent about the culture's values at the time. Don't bite the hand that feeds you is something we say today. That is something that represents a cultural belief that we have, that you should respect kind of the people who are giving you what you have. These gnomes are a pretty good way of figuring out what was important to a society. After Grendel's mom comes and kills a bunch of people, Hrothgar is like, all woe is me, and he's really sad, and one of his closest associates has been killed and he's mourning. And Beowulf comes up to him and is like, dude, suck it up. We need to get revenge. Stop mourning, stop wallowing, we're gonna get revenge. And he does it through a little gnome. And it shows us that that's what's important in this society, is revenge. And that's not a bad thing. That's just how they worked back then. So when we hear these gnomes, we can say, oh, okay, check. Revenge was important back then, not mourning.
So what was revenge is almost a moral compass then. It's a balancing act that, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So you kill my cousin, I'm going to kill yours or you or whatever.
Exactly,
right?
And that's where that death price comes into play, because either you kill my cousin, I kill yours, or you kill my cousin and now you pay me a ton of money. Exactly. So, but it's a balancing act, and life is worth some finite amount, right? Again, if someone gets killed and then you pay some amount of money or gifts to make up for it. Life has a specific value, and the only way to get precise equal value is by taking another life.
Got it. And I mean, it applies in today's legal courtrooms. When people are guilty of a product liability and the airbag didn't deploy, GM does a discounted cash flow analysis of what the person's profits would have been the remaining part of their life, does some adjustments to it, and says, well, this life was worth $842,000.
Exactly. And to us, that seems kind of like vulgar, right? A lot of people are like, how can you say this person's life was worth, $800,000? But back then, that's just what it was. It was not vulgar. It was not looked down upon. That just was how culture worked.
What is a gnome, and why would Hrothgar want to give gnomes to Beowulf? What are some gnomes from our own culture? What can we tell about the culture of the time from gnomes in Beowulf? Are there similarities we can draw between our culture and Beowulf's? How was revenge viewed and dealt with in Beowulf's time? What about now?
To us, that seems kind of like vulgar.